A few years ago, we were introduced to the 8th generation of Pokemon, Pokemon Sword and Shield, which took place in the Galar region. This region in particular introduced, like any other generation, its fair share of strong Pokemon. Some Pokemon that would be seen early as super strong, and others that will remain very consistent during the ages the generation took place. And of course, as its fair share of like the other generation, some Pokemon were not taught as much. Some were seen just being underwhelming, as some others are just considered not very good. But one Pokemon in particular, while didn't took off immediately, was able someday to realize its full potential by a certain player. And when this player was able to use this Pokemon strength to the fullest, it was not a very nice surprise. How did you like this little intro? That's for me. Yeah, that's me. It's Amo. It's me. Hi, it's Amo, Penguin Guy. And today I am doing something that I wanted to do for a little amount of time, but just never do it because I don't know why. I'm just lazy type of guy. But today is the day that I am known to be quite the Eiscue guy, and it's time to break down the history of Eiscue in competitive Draft League Pokemon. Yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy this because uh, yeah, you can see I'm not doing any scripts or anything like that. But yeah, that's not something I wanted to do. Like I know I've been like some discussion videos before this, but that's something I really want to do. It's not that I don't have the time to do it. I just don't have like the I don't have the experience. I'm not. I'm just here. I'm just a guy. I'm not doing anything professional. I'm just doing things I want to do because I want to do them because I like to. But today will be the day. We are discussing Eiscue. Break down everything from its very uh beginning to today. Yeah, you guys are ready? Because I am. Alright. So if we are jumping all the way back to the earlier days of Sword and Shield where everything was trying to figure out the new Pokemon as such, when it came down to Eiscue, well, it was what we thought about it. Its ability Ice Face, meaning that it cannot take any damage from physical attacks, would then switch into its no ice form, which makes it a blazing fast of base 130 by sacrificing 40 in both defenses. So the idea was simple. You set up on a physical attacker for them to break your face to become very fast. Because you didn't take damage from this, you can set up a belly drum, and some will has to go a step closer by adding substitute, so that after a belly drum, you reach to the point of activating a select berry, making revenge killing Ice Cube pretty much impossible by speed alone. Well, nice in concept, it didn't took off as a belly drum sweeper. Mostly because that, for Ice Cube to get its speed, it has to be hit by a physical attack. So the simple idea was using a special attacker to ensure Ice Cube's face never broke, to make sure it remains slow, which is pretty much like a little idea for this sub select berry set is that to help the speed a little bit, even if you were to be ice faced, but it was nothing too great nonetheless. It was still too slow, and even after a belly drum, it didn't hit that hard anyway. I mean, it's base 80 attack using base power moves that are around 80 base power. Not to mention that I don't really have good coverage otherwise. Like your likes of Crash, Liquidation, Zen Headbutt, Iron Head, and then moves that are very hard to use like Double Edge and Head Smash. So suffice to say, it was kind of a letdown, a disappointment. Nobody used it because they they were thinking that Eiscue would just never succeed. It was just like a gimmick, like people would call it, not consistent. Nobody would touch it. Why would anyone use it? Well, until one day, a player that already said that it was me, yes, so I will just refer to it as me, ended up one day trying out Eiscue, because of course I would one day. It was just a matter of time. And during this time of Certain Shield Draft League on the Wi-Fi, I brought it for the first time in this draft league called the APA, which is one of the oldest draft league, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm not. Like it was very, very long ago, and I ended up playing in it one day. And this season in particular, it was during each point of the draft, we will be using a different draft ourselves. Like from one week to another, we use this draft. They will redraft everything again, and then a third time. And then when it comes to playoff, we can choose the team that we want. So this was during the third draft form of it, and I had ice key on it. So of course I knew that the belly jump set wasn't like particularly good, but I was interested in the ice phase of how it interact with also a other move, basically hail. Because whenever it's ailing, ice cube regenerate the face. When the hail is summoned out during the turn, where ice cube is no ice form, or whenever ice cube switches back in and is no ice form and there's hail. As long as either of these conditions is meet, ice cube will regain it. I was like, I wonder how this interaction can perform, say, with a substitute protects it. Like trying to hailstall my opponent because I'll get a freebie from a physical attack so that I can whack itself the hail for free, then get another freebie, then start using substitute and protect while I stay healthy with leftovers. So I put this set to the test versus my opponent right here by being able to bring my Ice Cube versus a Terrakion, of course, a Pokemon that is known to use physical attacks. Also, don't mind the game being in French. Is it that was back then when I still played the game in French. So don't mind. I use Stone Age right here if you're wondering what he used. And that's the life orb. If you're still wondering what was it. Yeah, and the moveset is the same as on Showdown. So freeze dry, hail, sub, protect. You don't have to you don't have to question anything about this. So yeah, you have a little bit of French for me. So here, hail, as you can see, I regain the face just like this. And now I'm able to take another physical attack again. But the catch is, like I said, I only regain the face as long as I didn't broke it before. So if I were to be broken again, my ice waves wouldn't regenerate here. I would have to switch Ice Cube out and bring it back in for the face to be regenerated. Or I would have to stall out my hail myself and then set the hail again. But here I take advantage of Vaporeon normally thinking that it's safe for him to use Wish by clicking a freeze dry, which even though it comes up from Icecue's lower attacking stat, it's super effective on water type. I thought it was worth the use despite being weaker than its attack stat. Because it's not like Ice is gonna hit hard on the physical side anyway, so I might as well use the one that can hit for super effective the water types. So here, knowing that I can just safely clear protect because I want to save the Vaporeon, it's substitute, and I'm not gonna comment on it overall. It's just explain the entirety of how I thought the set would work. So here is Cavalier. I was lucky that Escalier wasn't overcooked, so it did took a Hell Chip, and even more lucky is I froze it, basically. But to put it bluntly, the set did kind of pop off. Like it was able to wall the Terrakion. It won it 1v1 of Escape because of luck, but that's Pokemon for you. But I'm not gonna stay on it for too long. That's basically what I thought about the set. But then in another draft league that I joined, this one was on Showdown instead, where I wanted to bring out Eiscue to the fullest against multiple people that I considered might not have the best experience versus what I had in Wi-Fi. I took Eiscue a step further ahead with a set that is probably the most well-known one, the Rocky Helmet variant, to really punish physical attacks. With, like I said, the same freeze dry as before, Blizzard for bigger damage, because yes, a fully invested Blizzard hits harder than a fully invested Icicle Crash, just because base power of the move is more meaningful than base stat most of the time, especially if the difference of the stats are low. And then Whirlpool, which is a pretty nasty move to pull off. Like if they switch out to something that checks you, then sure, you might not gonna hit them hard anyway if it's like a steel type, but at least you're gonna get chip from Whirlpool in Hell. And if it's a physical attacker that you trap, then this is where the fun begins. So unfortunately, I did most of the replays from this league are now lost to the shifty time, but I did have one cap for if you have seen a certain YouTuber that returned to draft and did a live stream of every draft, there is a chance that you have seen this replay before, but if you didn't, well, here's how it went. I use Eiscue as a Mega Medicham check because if you look at this at first glance, you would think, wow, this team just get destroyed by Medicham. Like every time it comes in, it kills everything. But little do they know, I was prepared with funny guy ice face number 47. Why not? But bam, you guys see this? No, this, yeah. He used Drain Punch to break the face, but he just took Helmet. And then his sub got broke. It did no damage, it just hurt itself. So then he just switches out, but that allows me to get the ice face for free, which is the best scenario. If they stay, they just get hit even more times because of hail plus helmet and everything. But if they switch out, I should get the face for free back and I can use it again later on. Which you might think then was that couldn't it just stayed in again and again until you can no longer like because like you said, you need the hail to keep the face up and you cannot like get the face balance usage out and back or if you still out the hail, which is effectively true. But this is where my moveset also came into play. I had protect to waste hail myself while also getting some health chip down. I also had substitute, which yeah, it will regain health from the substitute, but not as much as if it were to one hit KO me. And again, if I knew that it would go for a fighting move, even more obviously, I have some fighting resist that I can go into so that I can go back into Eiscue to get more ice face and chip damage with protect as well. So it was in fact a legitimate strategy. Then you see again the freeze dry to hit the water type. Then you see why ice type can be devastatingly powerful 10% of the time by a freeze. Then blizzard because of the high base power, killing the type of Goku. Here, we survive miracle thanks to Arakane's low HP stat, high special defense stat, and my very low special attack stat. Only by a little. And of course, you can see OG Albina, my friend, being all excited seeing Eiscue working. And of course, we keep the Eiscue, obviously. It still checks Mega Medi, where we need to remove the web. But we can remove the web, obviously, with Mega Blastoise. And now our Eiscue is still able to continue checking Mega Medi. I also remember this turn later. It came on Eiscue, but because Ice Face is an ability that can be traced, it kept trace. Then what Blissey and it traced Toxic. Remember this. Because then with Natural Cure it was able to switch out and remove the poison. Remember this. Then more subbing as if it's gonna help him. Another drain. So here it dies, right? So I figured, well, I might as well KO it right here. And if I don't, I can just sack Eiscue to it because it dies. I mean, you don't die to Helmet, but you'll be just so damn low on health at this point that I knew it would be safe because I also have Scarf Buzzle in the back. And that rewards me because another 10% of the time where ice types can be very nasty to deal with. And that allows me to beat the Porygon 2 as well. And then next is Sturdy Donphan. But because I got my face back, I'm able to bring Donphan down to Sturdy just to have it the hail finish it off. Then Dragon Knight comes in, no extreme speed, Blizzard doesn't kill, but puts in Virgil Forky Helmet, which then allows me for Scarbuzzle to claim the final kill instead. So this was really the match that started Eiscue off and my Drafted career, obviously. And I brought it to other matches as well, of course, where I try like more offensive set for surprise fighting instead of like defensive one. But unfortunately, like I said, those replays are lost. I only have this one because that's the one that I have Ice Cube pop off, so I have this one saved personally. So that's the reason why I have it, the other ones. But yeah. So now people realize that oh crap, Ice Cube is actually well not amazing, but way better than people thought about it. Like for sure. So it did got more recognition in Generation 8, which I was pretty happy about. This is also where my love for Ice Cube started, and why I'm known to be him. And then, when Generation 8 ended, started now Generation 9 with one big major change as a whole. Hail has been removed for Snow, which does something different than Hail. It doesn't do damage to non-Ice type, it instead boosts the defense of Ice type by 50%. This was, well, not a huge blow for Ice Cube for the defensive set because I mean, I would consider the chip was very valuable because I know some people always think about Sand being like good chip damage overall. So Hail was just stabable for everything except Ice types. And well, now I no longer have that. And what's more, Ice Cube did lose some other moves from the transition. Like I said, it lost Whirlpool, which was a good move for it, especially because, like again, it was a good source or chip damage. It was able to potentially pull out some really nasty stuff as well. But so unfortunately, I have to handle with Icecube's more limited coverage, as so far as to include moves like Aurora Veil for when Icecube switches out, or even like just attacking moves. So it was very, very limited. So much so that I've been trying to get accustomed to it, like trying a variant that would use the snow buff for IceQ to be more flexible during the snow. It doesn't have to be just a snow machine that switches out. So like trying to like fight off against other Pokemon because yeah, it will be reduced to like a base 70 defense, but at least the snow buff would help it patch up that defense a little bit to take at least a hit on the physical side. But unfortunately, because of our everything, yeah, like every Pokemon that are like in Generation 9, so just like the Steel type, the new super bulky Pokemon, and everything, I did struggle a little bit with Eiscue. But I do have some hope for it for Generation 9 because in the Teal Mask DLC, they augmented the amount of TMs there is, and from this, Eiscue got Flip Turn, which is probably not probably it's a good buff for it because now it can make things happen because now it can be like a physical pivot, like switching into the physical attack, getting its ice phase while at it, and just flip turn out into a teammates more safely, especially if he gets the veil up as well. So I still have yet to use flip turn ice cube effectively, but I have some hope again that hopefully I will be able to make ice cube reclaim its glory from Generation 8, because so far it didn't really reach out its status from Gen 8. Like it's not like it didn't reach up high either, but it was definitely an improvement, like I said, from what people thought about it. But something that was in fact very interesting about IceQ wasn't even on the game cultures themselves, but rather national decks on Pokemon Showdown is where IceQ really, really became a demon. So, as you know, recently in the generation, Game Freak started to just like cut off certain mechanics and Pokemon and moves for for some reason because we cannot have necessarily everything at once. Like imagine you just having Megas, Zimus, Dynamax, and Terrasilize together. We wouldn't want any of that. It would be too chaotic, of course. But with Ninetales on Pokemon Showdown specifically, if I was just a what if tier if everything was able to be played with each other. So then you see some interesting thing happening. So like the most notable one from Generation 9 was of course Shedinja capable to terrestrialize to abuse Wonder Guard with Terra Electric and an air balloon. To have literally no weaknesses as far as attacking move goes. Even paired with Shed-Tail Cyclizar to go even further. Then you have also like Lipard using Assist to call Revival Blessing a billions of time. And Eiscue was also one of those Pokemon that was able to take advantage of something that is literally not possible in game but is thanks to Showdown. So, like I said, in Gen 9, there's no hail, it's only snow. Yeah, Snowscape is now the new self move for snow, and Snow Warnings is also changed to summon snow as well. So, there's no way to ever call hail ever again. But on Nat decks, you can, because the move hail still exists. And of course, because hail isn't usable in Gen 9, it didn't get the treatment to change its effect. So if you were to use on Showdown, it will still summon hail. And for Ice Cream in particular, it's amazing because hail and snow are different weathers that do the same thing. So if you were to use Ice Cube and have his face broke and click Snowscape, you'll have it back and with Snow activate. Then next turn, if your Ice Face is broke again, then you can now use hail during a snowstorm, the snow, and it will override the snow with hail and will regain Icecue's face again. And both move as 16 PP for a total of 32. So assuming that your target is in fact a physical attacker that used contact move and just stays as Eiscue, it loses the duel because it will never be able to damage Eiscue. It will just hurt itself with the Rocky Helmet and the Hail Chip. And again, we have the same freeze drive from earlier to damage the water types that are annoying. And also because it's national dex, we can give Whirlpool to Eiscue for again, if you get on a physical attacker, they're pretty much doom. Like it'll be too much chip. It'll be Hail Chip, Whirlpool Chip, Rocky Helmet Chip. They'll just get chip without doing any damage to Ice Cube. So I kind of forgot to pull a replay out of this. I don't want to pause and everything. But you gotta trust me. Like I'm certain you know also a certain YouTuber that I probably mentioned earlier in this video that did a live with this Ice Cube set and did have his moment, of course. It didn't completely dominate it with Ice Cube for the video, but it did show the potential of it. I occurred did a video on it for a special number of subscribers that I reached a little while ago, where it did also shine. And a bit sad this is only possible in a non-realistic tier because again, hail is probably like gone forever at this point because of snow being the new ice weather. But the fact that there is a legitimate moment where Eiscue can just be an anomaly for the game, like not even like something that makes it like it broke the game. Like I mean, it kind of does broke the game, but not in the sense that it has to be ban worthy, like same as like Terrasha Ninja or Assist Revival Blessing Lipard. But just a funny little glitch in the matrix that just exists and he's just here just to be that guy and that what makes him love Ice Cube so much. It is my personal little penguin. It is my funny guy. He's a Pokemon that I brought to better success than normally it does. I don't really have a script, so I don't know what to say next, but he's the guy. He's him. He's staring at you right now. So yeah, this was the story of Ice Cube and Draft League made by Amel, which I hope that you guys enjoy. Like, I know I'm not the most professional guy on the internet, wherever it is, nor the smartest, but it makes me happy to hear that some people love to hear me talk about things because they're fascinated with my thought process. But yeah, so on this, I will leave you on Eiscue staring into your soul, and we'll simply tell you guys. Well, it really depends because this video will come out after Draft League is done for this section for me. So hopefully I'll do more videos like this where I do more pet talks. I like to do them. I just need a subject and some motivation. But when I do, I love to do them. So whatever, if you guys have ideas, you can just let me know. If I think of something, I'll do it. If I like it, I'll do it. So I will leave you guys on this and have a nice day, people, everyone. Bye bye.